everybody, welcome back to my studio. This is Emma on another nice spring day here. I'm trying to pretend it's warm outside even though it's not as cold as it has been, or we had frost last week, so that's how chilly it's been. But I don't care because it's really bright and light and all the flowers are coming up and all the green stuff's out and all the hedgerows are looking really beautiful now. So I'm full of cheer this morning. I think it's Monday. I usually try and film on a Monday, and then I can get it all edited ready for you to put it out on a Wednesday. So I hope you're enjoying it. I'm so grateful to you for all your comments on the tulip scenario. I so enjoyed making those tulips, and I'm very grateful to you for leaving your comments about what you thought. And I'm particularly happy that a couple of people were inspired to, finish off things that they had got started and didn't quite know what to do with. So that's a joy. If anything I do or say just sparks something in you and gets you going, do let me know, because it adds to the fun of doing this, and it really gives me some lovely feedback, which makes me feel very, very happy. So today, as I said last week, I have no idea from week to week what I'm doing, or day to day. I can start a project and think it's going in a particular direction, and then in the middle it just kind of goes, no, actually I want it to go this way, like the tulips when those fantastic leaves suddenly came out. So I've got 3 pieces now done for the exhibition in the summer, which I'm very much looking forward to. They're completely not at all what I thought I was going to be making when we originally came up with the idea of 4 seasons. So and you will get to see them, but not to the exhibition. Okay, I'm kind of keeping them under wraps because they are so very different. I'm not quite sure what to do with them and I don't know what the rest of them are going to look like, so I'm partway through that. So this morning I came in, I've been mooching around at my beautifully tidy studio. Honestly, it's getting so much better in here. I didn't realise how the clutter had piled up and up and up. Years of stashing things away, and unlike in the house where I do regular clear outs, in fact I've got so little left in the house, it's a joke really, ha. Down here I always had the excuse that this was my studio and I needed these things to inspire me, and dardy or any excuse. So I mean, I bought things from other artists which are lovely, but I've now let them go to the charity shop, and I've actually made space for me in here, and I've arranged some of my artwork over here on the shelving over here, and I've got space around it. So instead of it being all piled up and cluttered, I've created space for me, and it's a big studio, don't get me wrong, I have got loads of space in here for me, but I think I'd rather let the stuff take over. So this morning, no idea what to do, so what I did was, to start me going, just to get my juices flowing, I took a box, and this is just a box of scraps. It's got all sorts in here from various projects that I've done. I usually end up with a box like this, which is another part of my process, which is I have to kind of go through this lot and sort it out and sift it after I've finished the project, but I tend not to do that because I'm a lazy bones. So those get piled up as well. So I've actually got a few of those to look through also. So I just took those over to my embellishing machine, and I just let the pieces come up, and I cut a few pieces out, and all I did was just slap them down, and I didn't think too much about it, but it became kind of I don't know, a bit of an abstract piece with sort of squares and lines, and I started to do a little bit of free machine embroidery onto that gold bit, but I just let the fabrics play with me. And if you turn it on the back, it's quite fun. I don't know if you can see that. It's what the embellisher does. The embellisher pushes the fabric through. If you haven't come across an embellisher, I will talk about it in a minute, because I am going to use it this morning and do some demoing. So that was my initial process, just to kind of get me out of the, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Blank screen, blank head, blank everything. It's Monday, I need a film by Wednesday. So I try not to go there, because this is really meant to be about me showing you what I'm doing. And this morning I thought, well, what do I want to do? So I went to my stash of fabric, which has got a lot of different colours in, and this box of neutrals just spoke to me. I've no idea what I'm going to do with it, but there's some really nice, pretty colours. There's some dark and there's some light, there's some shiny, there's some organza-y. This is quite a pretty sort of lacy one. I don't know whether I'm going to use them all. I don't know whether I'm going to add something into the mix as well. Who knows? But this is my starting point. And I think the crucial thing with being creative is that you just start. It doesn't matter what you do. If you sit and doodle, get your sewing machine out, get a hoop on and just, you know, let your sewing machine run. Just play until gradually you get out of the fear of, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Oh my goodness, what's it, you know, this is really important, I've got to produce something. Well, actually you don't, actually. This is what I told myself this morning. You've just got to go in and play. I've actually got, you know, I've got this work going on as well that I'm doing, but this is just some playtime for me as well. And who knows what's going to come out of it. So, I'm going to start fiddling with these fabrics. Nothing like a bit of fiddling on a Monday morning. And just cut them up and see what happens. Would you like to join me? That would be fun, wouldn't it? So here is my stall set out again for another textile adventure. How happy that makes me. I have absolutely no idea what it's going to be. Well, actually, that's not completely true. I've now thought it's going to be a landscape, and I've cut a piece of, this is cotton curtain interlining, which you've heard me speak about many a time and oft, because it's one of my favourite things for embellishing onto. It gives a little bit of quilting, so you get a nice, in fact I used it for the tulip picture. So if you watch the tulips, you will know what I'm talking about. I've also got myself a board. I decided for once I'm actually going to make something that fits into a frame. Now I don't normally do this. It's not my usual modus operandi. But I just felt today actually that would be quite nice. I've got this board that used to have a picture on that I've taken off, and I felt like actually this board would like something new. So I thought I'd show you this. This is simply a piece of white wood painted. I mean, it wasn't white wood. I've painted it white wood, and on the back I've got a little hanging device that I've screwed on, and it's quite nice. It's very simple. I used to sell quite a lot of work framed in this way. Obviously you have to glue it on, and you have to do that very carefully, but I don't see that that's a problem, to be honest. I've never had anything either fall off, or I haven't had any problems with glue coming through or anything like that, and I've had things hanging on boards for absolutely years perfectly well. So here we go. I'm going to move the board, clunk, and I'm just going to start cutting some fabrics, because really until you start cutting the fabrics and laying them down and playing around with them, you know, you've really got no idea what's going to happen, have you? It's a bit like getting your paints out. You know, I think a painter would get the palette of paints out and they would just start mixing their paints, I suppose. And this is a similar process. It's so peaceful in here. All I can hear is the clock ticking. I used to always work with music on, and I don't know, the last few months I've actually just preferred just to be silent, which is quite interesting. So I'm just going to cut this into a shape. I don't know where it's going, as I say. I'm just going to play around with it. I think once you get your first piece on, or a second piece comes along with it, you know, once you get something started, you've got somewhere to work from. It's a bit like in the house. I'm absolutely rubbish at trying to design a room from scratch, but once I start in a room where there's things already in there, and I'm happy to take things out and mix it up and add things in, I can't design it out of my head. I have to start a process and feel my way into it. So you see, look at that. I mean, I've just cut that completely at random, but I think that's got quite a nice feel to it, actually. I think that's quite hilly, and it's quite dark. So I was wondering, actually, my original thought when I started looking for my fabrics was I did feel a moonscape might be the thing. So it could be that this is a really dramatic sort of hill, and there's going to be a beautiful golden moon up here. I think because there's a new moon at the moment, maybe I'm thinking about the moon. There's been a, you know, I don't know if you know, there was a solar eclipse and the new moon coming in. It was very exciting, really. Couldn't see it, but you know. So I think that's the first piece down really, and I'm going to put some pieces down here and we'll think about what's going across here as well. So I'm just playing with these bits of fabric and just wondering whether I want it perhaps quite textured in the foreground maybe. These are nice. This would make a nice texture, and this is quite textured. And then we could have quite a smooth, simple, lightish sort of sky, perhaps with some clouds going across. I always try and keep my compositions fairly simple, and I do let the fabrics just show me what can be possible, really. Let's cut a piece of this. Oh, I love this fabric. I've used it for all sorts of things. I do love it. It's really rather fun. And it's a question at this stage of deciding whether or not you're going to have things. Oh, you see, isn't that nice against that even? I quite like that. I like the idea that it's coming up to there, and it could be the light from the moon coming down and just, lighting up the foreground or lighting up part of the hill that you're looking at. And I think, at this stage, do I want things to go all the way across again like that? So again, you see, we could have a lake or a river here, and then you could have a really dark foreground again, and then have that sort of on the hill like that, being lit up by the moon. Oh, so many possibilities. Almost too many sweeties in this sweetie shop. And I'm just wondering whether that could be the sky, I think. Or you see, I can turn this over and it's got a different colour for the sky. I think this is too scrunchy for the sky. So I've got some of this which is lovely as well. This could be something in the foreground also. So I could have a light foreground. It could be that this is going to be in the foreground. It could be that this is some water down here. Just cut a little bit off here. Let's just cut a little bit off here. I'm such a vandal. These were all beautiful clothes. Hello to all of those out there who are kindred spirits and going out and raiding the charity shops and bringing back all sorts of crazy garments to cut up and turn into your beautiful works of art. I think it's fantastic. Things that perhaps were unloved and unshared. See, that's quite nice. Oh, I'm liking that. I'm liking that as a sort of a foreground. And then again, it's not quite big enough. But sometimes you have to cut the pieces that you don't want to find the pieces that you do want, and if you just cut at random, you get these lovely shapes that you perhaps are unexpectedly getting, that then brings a lovely lot of texture to the foreground here. And perhaps you'll have a little bit of this at the sides, like this possibly. This could be bushes or something at the sides. So I think I'm going to play around with a little bit more, and when I've got a bit more together, I'll show you where I'm up to. So I've kind of created mayhem here. I've got bits of all sorts of colours that I've been trying to put into this and seeing what's going to happen. But what I've come up with, which I'm going to show you, is I've really simplified it down, and I always think that's usually the best way to go. So if I tuck that under there, I'm not sure if I'm going to turn my edges in or not, but that gives us a bit of an edge to go with. And I kind of simplified my background. I just kind of went, okay, we're going to keep it really, really simple. Doesn't quite matter where that goes. Again, I'm letting the fabrics be wider than the wadding underneath, because then I can turn it in if I want to. I haven't quite decided that bit yet. It's early days, you know how I work. It's kind of a bit of this and a bit of that. So this is still my lovely mountain, and I'm just going to keep that really, really simple. And then when I cut out a little bit of moon in some pretty gold, it's a very gentle gold, this one, and I thought it could be quite a nice big moon. And this could either be, how the moonlight just makes everything look magical, doesn't it, if you get it on the ground. So this could be water, or it could just be something shimmering in the moonlight, okay? So it's about magic. It's about just, let your imagination take you. Play with the fabrics until you get something that you would like. What I was going to say, the other thing I was going to say was I was going to embellish this picture down, but I decided once I started and I got this lovely shape, if I embellish that, I will spoil it. It will just disappear, that lovely shape. So I'm not going to embellish. I'm just going to stitch And the other reason being that once you embellish the fabric, so say that is the same as that, once you've embellished it, it changes the surface of the fabric totally. So I'm just going to stitch. And I'm sure those of you who haven't got an embellisher will be going, thank goodness for that. She's always using a bloomin' embellisher and I haven't got one. So today, this is for you. Ordinary, normal stitching is going to be beautiful. And it's just the perfect thing. So I've got this like strip of gold, which again I thought kind of brings the moonlight down to here. This was my original little bit of lace, which I really liked. Don't ask me why. There's no reason, rhyme or reason for any of this, you know. I'm sure you know when you play with your fabrics as well. There's no, and it's not about, oh, it's got to look this way or that way. It's look and just feel it and just go, oh yes, I like that. So to me, that's really simplified things. If I put I mean, if you had a little, you know, you can make a little picture like that quite simply. And what I've tried to do is, this isn't the right size, but you can kind of, if you pull it far enough back, you can kind of get a feeling for what the picture is going to look like. You could cut yourself a little mount and actually fiddle around like that, but I just go by eye and I go by what feels nice. And I thought, well then, if you've got this very simple, with some very simple stitching in the front, I could then do something, I don't know, something, a tree or some grasses or something that just allows you to have a little bit of more foreground interest going on. But this is the stage I'm at, and the next stage will be stitching, which we will see next time. You know how it is here. I don't rush anything. I've enjoyed doing this. I hope you've enjoyed this little journey so far. And I look forward to seeing you again in my studio next week. And we'll get some stitching done. And just say thank you very much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. It's lovely. It's great being here with you. I wouldn't be doing this, I don't think, in the way that I'm doing it without you guys coming along with me. So thanks so much, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye for now. Ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba.